Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Wrightbet presented by First Star Logistics and sponsored by the exclusive sportsbook betting partner of the Wrightbet, Betfred Sports Book. We have a jam-packed show, lots to get into as we'll be discussing the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We'll be talking about UFC 283 and giving you our best bets for this weekend's action in sports. But before we do, give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate your support. Going to kick this over to my partner, Daniel.
Malik, man, I've been waiting to, get back in the studio, talk about, our best bets. And I'm going to give a recap of how we did last week, right? We went 7-3 on the show. 7-3. That's pretty damn good. We're in the green. Just a quick recap. Austin Eckler, touchdown cash. Bengals money line cash. Jamar Chase over cash. Christian McCaffrey, touchdown cash. Isaiah Hodgins, touchdown cash. Dawson Knox, touchdown. We missed on the Bucks money line, and we hit on the Giants money line. Producer Colton, I want you to play the clip of Malik sending in the Betfred boost that we had from last week. Roll the clip real quick.
Jay, and I said, Jay, let's do it, because I'm that confident in the New York Football Giants. If I'm wrong, I'll step up on this show with a Kirk Cousins jersey.
We hit the nail on the head with that play. Malik, I'll give you your props. You sent in the play. We had a lot of people tail the play. Giants money line cash. We're going to do the same thing this week. So let's start it out. Jaguars versus the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites. Me personally, I've got a couple player props I love in this. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, but Malik, I know you've got a team that you've kind of like in this. Who do you got winning this game?
I mean, this game is tough no matter which way you look at it. And it's tough for a couple of reasons, I know we put a shirt out on YouTube where we were saying, I said that I believe the Jaguars could win this game because I believe the Jaguars have the recipe to beat the Chiefs. What do I'm talking about? I think that they're physical. They're a little bit more physical than the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that their receivers and Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, they can out physical Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Steed, so on and so forth from that crop that they have there. Now, people might look at me and be like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about something that the Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs have shown you since the end of time. Under Steve Spagnuolo, this really hasn't been a competent defense, to be quite honest with you. It hasn't been. And I think sometimes when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs defense, people automatically kind of group it in with the offense a little bit, because it's like the almost unspoken word. You're supposed to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs as if they're some absolute juggernaut, and they have been that, but they also do have chinks in their armor. And I think the Jaguars are a team that can expose that. Also, I'm not one for theories, but there's a theory out there. Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays. Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays, man. And I know this isn't college football. I know this isn't Clemson. But if you ask me, I think that Travis Etienne can control the clock, limit the possessions of the Kansas City Chiefs. And then when they need to, the receivers that they have on the outside can out-physical the cornerbacks of the Kansas City Chiefs, thus resulting in a Jaguars upset of the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's one thing that the Kansas City Chiefs can't do, Daniel and Colton. The Kansas City Chiefs can't allow the Jaguars to hang around. Yep. They cannot play with their food. They cannot play with fire. If you do, the Jaguars have already shown you that they can come back. They don't care that they're down 4 touchdowns. They'll find a way to come back. So we know that this team already has had their mettle tested already. I'm just saying, everybody's writing them off. Everybody's saying the Kansas City Chiefs by a landslide. I even was at a tailgate giving a speech, and I accidentally can't let it slip out. And I said, the Kansas City Chiefs, are going to be in the AFC Championship. I don't know if I necessarily believe that anymore. Mm-hmm. I think that they have a lot of chinks in their armor, and I don't think that they're the same Kansas City Chiefs of old, and I think the Jaguars can expose that.
I like it. And something else that you mentioned on the show, earlier this week, Doug Peterson and Andy Reid used to coach together.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And in the NFL playoffs, something that's huge is coaching. Coaching actually matters, right? Coaching matters, and people can look at the talent and say, the Chiefs' offense is way more talented. Well, so is the Jaguars. Travis Etienne, I expect him to have a huge game.
Super Bowl winning coaches on both sides of the ball. Super Bowl winning coaches on both sides of the ball. I don't know. For me, every single time Dougie P has gotten in the spot, he never choked. Andy Reid has a tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs where I've saw him, squander it in the big moments. I'm not saying that's what he's going to do here. Yeah. And if you notice, I keep saying they can because the logical choice is the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. I'm a logical bettor. I put my money where the logical, part is that makes sense. To me, the logic is Chiefs money line, not Chiefs spread, because I don't think the Chiefs will be able to cover that spread against the Jaguars, because I feel like the Jaguars will be able to keep it close.
It's 8.5. It's 8.5.
So that's actually what my play is. Take the Jaguar spread. I think that they cover. I do.
I love it. I love it. I've got 2 plays for you guys for this game. A player has scored in 6 straight games, and he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not rushing touchdowns. They were receiving touchdowns. Jerick McKinnon has scored in 6 straight, and his odds are only minus 120. And people may say, well, Jerick McKinnon doesn't get a lot of snaps. Yeah, he does. He basically gets 60% of the backfield snaps, and Patrick Mahomes has targeted him at least 6 times in almost every one of those 8.
So what are you saying, Daniel?
So I'm saying Jerick McKinnon is going to score. That's my lock of the week. Last week, I hammered Dawson Knox. I hammered Isaiah Hodgins. Jerick McKinnon is going to score this week. And I also, once again, I am a degenerate, so I'm going to sprinkle on the first touchdown score. I've also got one more play for you. Isaiah Pacheco over 50 rushing yards. I'm a huge Isaiah Pacheco fan. And when I look at what Isaiah Pacheco has done, he's rushed for 52.5 yards in 8 of the past 9 games. And Malik, you said something key. You said, don't let the team hang around. And that's exactly what the Chiefs have to do. Run the ball, right? And when we look at the past playoffs, one of the facts I went back and checked, they've had a running back do this in each of the past 7 playoff games.
Right.
So people can say they don't run the ball, maybe not a lot, but Pacheco will hit 52.5, hammer his over. We've got a divisional game, the Giants versus the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 7.5. I like a team, and I know before I said I like the Giants, but Malik, Eagles versus Giants, do you have a favorite play in this game, money line?
Eagles money line. I think that this is where you guys have known I've been the biggest Brian Daboll stan and Giants stan this season. I love the culture he's building, and I think that this season's going to be used as a building block for multiple seasons moving forward. However, this is where the fairy tale run ends. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to lose to Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat the New York Football Giants. This is not like the Minnesota Vikings, who had fraud written all over them. And I was willing to say, put my reputation online saying, let's make a play. Hey, I even called Betfred up again. And I was like, hey, you know what, Jay, let's get a Betfred boost in there, for instance. And let's up the odds, for the Giants. Went from plus 140 to plus 160, but this isn't one of those, right? For me, Philadelphia Eagles are the way to go here. Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat the Giants, the better team by far and away. I don't think Jalen Hurts is 100%. I think that will play a factor in the final score, because I think if he was 100%, it probably would be an absolute blowout. That being said, I don't think that they'll be able to just blow the doors off the New York Football Giants, but I do think they're going to win this game. And Philadelphia Eagles money line is my play for this game.
Malik, I'm on the same wavelength as you. I can't pick the Giants to win this game. And I've had some people say, I'm going to hammer the Giants money line. Too good of odds. You've also got to be smart sometimes. Like, you can sprinkle on this, but pick the better team, more rest. Like the Giants, they are 12-3 against the spread in the past 15, but 7.5 points. I just wouldn't touch it personally. It's a divisional game, but pick the better team.
Now, if Gardner Minshew was starting, that would be completely different for me, but it's Jalen Hurts at quarterback, right? So I think that as long as Jalen Hurts is in there at quarterback, I think they're the team to rock with.
And that's something also the public are they're trying to ride with the Giants, because Danny Dimes threw for 300 yards, but that was against the Vikings defense. The Eagles defense is not the Vikings defense.
And you just saw that the Vikings defense coordinator just got fired today.
Yep.
The Eagles defensive coordinator is being interviewed for head coaching job. So
simple as that. Simple as that. So let's switch this over. We're going to stay here in Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills.
Booty, let's go.
Bills. No, you're good. The Bills are 5-point favorites. 5-point favorites. And I've got a lot to say about this game. Malik, start us off. Who are you taking?
I'm going to make it simple, because you guys watch State of the Jungle. I've been very adamant on my feelings about this. Listen, the Cincinnati Bengals are the covering kings of the NFL. This is what they do. This is where they live. This is where they thrive. The Bengals defense has a little bit of a saying, and they call it money on the flow. And I'm telling you right now, Vegas is going to be dropping a whole lot of money on the flow, because if anybody thinks the Bills are going to beat the Bengals, I'm not even saying right now the Bengals are going to win, which I believe the Bengals are going to. But if you think that the Bills are going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals by 5.5 points, I don't know what to tell you. That's not indicative of who this team is. That's not what they do. I think it's going to be a close, hard-fought game. And I think either way, 5.5 points, whether you were favoring the Bengals to cover that spread or the Bills cover that spread, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think it's a disrespect to both these teams, but especially the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are getting a lot of disrespect in this spot. But my play of the day is Bengals money line. I love the Bengals in this game. I also think you can go with the spread too. But me personally, I'm going with Bengals money line. Why? Because I think the Bengals are just going to outright win. I feel very confidently in saying that.
Yeah, Malik. I just don't understand this, right? We talked about this. Vegas obviously knows what they're doing, but with this, they don't. They don't. And the reason why I say that is because
or maybe they do. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. Maybe the logic that they're going with is, hey, the Bills are at home. Hey, the Bills, the Bills
team of destiny.
They're the team of destiny, if you will. And remember, Vegas, this whole thing is they want to win. They want to win, and they want to win big. If they see that, and if you see the amount of points that the Buffalo Bills put up last week, and you see the lack of points that the Bengals put up last week, and the injuries to 3 starters on the Bengals offensive line, that is what they're using to justify that number. Do I think Vegas thinks that the Bills are going to cover that spread? No. But I think Vegas remember, Vegas is trying to win. I think Vegas is trying to get bettors to bet Bills to cover that spread. And remember, the more money you put in, the more you say the Bills are going to cover that spread, 5.5, guess what? The more money Vegas makes when it doesn't hit. So Vegas absolutely knows what they're doing. Vegas 100% is very strategic in this play here. And listen, their play is to, take bettors' money. That's really what it comes down to. And I think Vegas doesn't want you to bet the Bengals to cover the spread. They don't want that. Yeah. They don't want that. They want you to bet the Bills to cover that spread. And they know what they're doing. But I got some news for you NFL fans out there, for you talking heads in the media, all you different people. The Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to just cover the spread. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this game, and the Cincinnati Bengals will be in the AFC championship game again.
Exactly, right? People are looking at, the public is saying, I'm going to hammer the favorites, right? The public likes to go chalk. But with this game, once again, I'm looking at the 5 points. This is the play of the entire playoffs, right? The Bengals have covered +5 in 16 of their 17 games this year, right? So in 16 of the 17 games, they've covered the +5. The one game was against the Browns that they didn't. The Bills have only won by more than 5, 9 out of 16 games this year. 9 out of 16.
Danny coming with the stats, okay?
So when I look at this, Malik, and when I look at this, if you guys are watching this, this is too many points for teams that are too close, right? When I go back and look at that Monday night, where obviously we understand what happened, how the game finished, that was going to be a back and forth game. And whichever way you slice it, the Bengals probably weren't going to lose by more than one possession in that game. They were already up. So when I look at this, Josh Allen.
What about the Bengals were going to win, though?
Probably. Like they were probably going to win. And
you were just speaking as if like they weren't.
I was being safe. Okay. I was being safe for the bettors out there. I was just saying, regardless, they weren't going to lose by one possession. They weren't. Josh Allen is also part of an issue, right? Yes, he's an amazing talent, but 6 turnovers in the past 2 weeks. You're crazy to say that he's not going to turn the ball over again. And the last point I'm going to make is, for all the public, they're saying the Bengals offensive line, Joe Burrow's going to have to turn the ball over at some point, right? He doesn't have an interception in each of the past 2 weeks.
Here's one thing I just want to say to the public really quickly, because here's the intricacies that people aren't talking about. Jackson Carman is their second-round pick that they drafted last offseason, for instance. This is a guy that was the starting left tackle at Clemson. You might ask yourself, who was his quarterback that he was blocking for? I'll tell you, Trevor Lawrence. He was the left tackle for Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. He was graded as having the best feet in the NFL draft. Outside of 2 true pass pro sets against the Baltimore Ravens, he played pretty well. This is a guy that took his first snaps at the left tackle position in the NFL, took an adjustment. 2 plays, he looked rough. After that, he looked fine. To me, this offensive line right here that they're dragging out is better than the offensive line that the Cincinnati Bengals went to the Super Bowl with last year. And with a quarterback like Joe Burrow, who gets the ball out of his hands quickly, and the Bengals already have that quick style offense, if you will, I don't know if the offensive line will be drastically drastically have that much of an impact on the game. You're also talking about a Cincinnati Bengals team last year that went into Tennessee. Joe Burrow got sacked 7 times. He got sacked 7 times last year, and they still pulled the game out. That is also not that's not a hearsay. That's a fact. So I think the offensive line theory is being a little bit overblown, especially when we're talking about a defensive line, the Buffalo Bills, that have been struggling to get pressure without Von Miller, and they also don't blitz. So say what you will when it comes to that. I'm just laying out the facts to you that you guys, again, we're trying to help you win money, right? And there's no better place to help you win money than the Wrightbet, presented by First Star and sponsored by Betfred Sportsbook. So, like I said, if I were you guys, I would really listen to what we're saying. We're not saying we're know-it-alls, but we are saying it's been a lot is being overly a lot is being overblown when it comes to the Bengals offensive line. I truly believe that the Bengals offensive line this year is better than the one that started. And I actually think in some spots, Jackson Carman might be a better left tackle than Jonah Williams in some spots.
Yeah. And the last thing is, when people look at the Bills defensive line, they like to say they're elite. Without Von Miller, they haven't been elite. You know, one of our guys, Evan McPhillips, said that they rank in the bottom third in pressure rate since Von Miller's been out. So it's not like they're an elite defensive line. So
right.
We're going to switch this over to the final game before we get to UFC. Cowboys versus 49ers. And I've got a play that I've absolutely loving this. I know me and Malik kind of disagree on this a little bit. I love the 49ers to win. I absolutely love this. And how this line is only 3.5 blows my mind, right? First off, you got the rest advantage. They've got an extra 3 days rest. They played on Saturday. The Cowboys played on Monday night. They've got also the advantage of they've stayed at home for the past 2 weeks. The Cowboys went from Tampa to Dallas. They got to go to San Francisco. Also, the Cowboys defense, what do they struggle with? They struggle with diverse offenses, right? We saw the Buccaneers offense was very stagnant. They're not a diverse offense. What happened when the Cowboys played the Eagles in both those matchups earlier this year? Micah Parsons was kind of stuck, right? He still obviously got his, but that's what you have to do. Take Micah Parsons out of the game. And what better way than if you have Kyle Shanahan, if you have Deebo Samuel, if you have Brandon Ayuk, you have George Kittle, you have Christian McCaffrey, right? And some people want to make this a Brock Purdy versus Dak Prescott thing. Dak Prescott's the better quarterback than Brock Purdy. Don't get it twisted. But that doesn't mean that Dak Prescott is some elite quarterback, right? Last week was not indicative of the quarterback that he is. He threw for 350 yards, 300 yards, whatever it was, no interceptions. Dak Prescott threw an interception before that game in each of his past 7. He threw 13 interceptions, to be exact, in each of the past 7. And what has the 49ers defense done well? They've intercepted quarterbacks. They have 15 interceptions in the past 10 games. So my favorite play, I like the 49ers money line, but also hammer Dak Prescott to get an interception. It's only minus 150. If you're telling me a play that's hitting 7 of the past 8 games is only minus 150 on the brightest stage, all I'm asking for is 1 interception. Dak is going to have an interception. Mark this down.
So it's funny. In the beginning of the season, I just so you guys know, I really do appreciate Daniel's input on all this. He's one of the best, brightest minds in the sports betting industry that I know. I disagree though. I don't disagree necessarily in the Dak Prescott the interception thing. Sure, that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? The fact of the matter is, what I think is going to happen though is in the beginning of the season I had the Dallas Cowboys going to Super Bowl. I had the Dallas Cowboys coming out of the NFC and going to Super Bowl. And I said that's the only way I also thought Mike McCarthy's job would be fully good, if you will. That was back when the Sean Payton rumors were running rampant, things of that nature. I think that the Dallas Cowboys win this game. And then I think the Dallas Cowboys go on and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the Dallas Cowboys go on to represent the NFC in the NFC championship. I think the story is too much of a Cinderella story for Brock Purdy, a guy coming in to win all these games for the Niners and then, going to a Super Bowl. I just don't see it playing out that way. I think the kid has played well and has exceeded a lot of expectations. I don't like the way he looked in the beginning of that Seattle Seahawks game. And I think that had it been a Dallas football team, that game probably wouldn't have been as close, to be quite honest with you. But he was playing, luckily, Geno Smith. Dak Prescott, I can tell you, is better than Geno Smith. Is Dak Prescott overrated? Sure. Is Dak Prescott overpraised? Yes. Is Dak Prescott better than Brock Purdy? Yes. I believe Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, that crew, Dalton Schultz, can be the one to shock a lot of people. One play that I really, really like in this game. I really, really like in this game. I don't know what the odds are yet on the Betfred Sportsbook app. Yeah, maybe you can look that up for me. I like Dalton Schultz to get a touchdown. Like Dalton Schultz to get a touchdown. He's emerged a lot in this Dallas Cowboys offense, but honestly, though, I think a lot of people are just waiting for the shoe to drop in Dallas, and I don't think that this is going to be the year that the shoe drops in Dallas. I think Dallas is going to shock a lot of people and beat the 49ers. I think everybody's just I think that's been and Colton, would you agree? I think that's been like the one thing that everybody has sort of said, going into this playoffs. The 49ers are the team to beat. The 49ers are the team to beat. Not realizing a few months back when we lost Jimmy Garoppolo, we were saying their season was over. Everybody was saying their season was over. Then Brock Purdy stepped in and Brock Purdy started playing well. Listen, do not be a prisoner of the moment. And I think a lot of people are being prisoners of the moment. And that's fine. I get it. Because winning cures everything. Winning makes you forget everything. I do not, however, forget Brock Purdy never used to throw the ball deep in college. I don't forget these things. I know that Kyle Shanahan has made this style of offense very, very simple for him and very, very easy for him. I think it's going to be very, very difficult when Micah Parsons is breathing down your neck this week. For that reason, I think on paper, right? On paper, and from an experience standpoint, I think the Dallas Cowboys are the better team. I do. Now, if Jimmy Garoppolo was starting at the quarterback position right now, I'd probably agree with you, Daniel. I'd probably go with the Niners, but he's not. It's Brock Purdy. And I think when we talk about the moment being too bright, I think this is a prime spot where the moment's going to be too bright. I'm willing to bet that we're going to see Dallas versus Eagles in the NFC Championship. Take the Dallas Cowboys money line. All odds via the Betfred Sportsbook app. Dallas is going to the NFC Championship.
Ooh. See, I love it. And this is what you're going to get on the show. You're not always going to get us to agree, right? I just respectfully disagree, Malik. I think on paper, hands down, the 49ers are the better team. I think they're the more talented offense. I think they're the offense that has looked better for this entire season. They've won 11 straight games.
Have. But I think the Dallas Cowboys are hot right now, and they're getting hot at the right time. I think if Dallas would have faced Seattle, that would have been the same exact result. They would have beat Seattle. Just being honest with you. I think a lot of people are just writing Dallas off because we're used to Dallas falling in the spot. I don't think they fall this in the spot. I think all the Dallas Cowboys truthers, all the people from our dad's generations are going to come out wearing their Dallas Cowboys gear and stuff like that. How about them Cowboys? I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure, Daniel's probably going to step on the show next week with the Cowboys hat on.
Nope, not true. So let's do this. Let's put our money where our mouth is. I don't have something. I mean, I'm already doing a SHOEY after this. I don't have a punishment yet. Maybe if you guys go comment down below a punishment you would like to see.
Let's just have a healthy competition. Whoever wins. Whoever's wrong. Let's keep that. Let's just tally it up. I don't need you to do any crazy stuff.
But I was saying for you, so it sounds like you're running from the smoke.
I'm not running from any smoke. I just believe the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game, and I'm fairly certain the Dallas Cowboys are going to represent the NFC. Are going to be one half of the representative in the NFC for the NFC Championship. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be the San Francisco 49ers.
I'll agree to disagree. We'll see what happens. If you guys are still watching this, make sure you guys give this video a like. We've got a lot more sports betting content coming for you guys. Give this video a like. Malik, it's your show now. The UFC, big time UFC card. Take it away.
Before I do take it away, if you are looking to start your career today as a broker, make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. There's no better place, better atmosphere, better people. We've been out here since September, been treated like family. We got to watch games with Jonathan Indy, a Reds player, Icky Woods, so on and so forth. And it's always a lively time in the First Star Logistics suite, especially on Bengal game days here in Cincinnati. So looking to start your career today as a broker, make unlimited amount of money as possible. Make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. You won't regret it. I'm going to keep the conversation going. UFC 283 is here. The first UFC pay-per-view card of 2023. Last week, I went 4-2 on my UFC picks. That's all right. It was an all right start for me. I would have liked to go undefeated. You can't always go undefeated, but you know what? Last year went 116, 54-2, and you know what? We're going to come out this week with a banger, with a heater, and I'm excited, and I'll tell you what it is. Got 3 plays for you. Now, be honest with you guys. If you want our plays, if you want all of our picks that we have going live consistently each and every single day. Make sure you subscribe to the best Patreon out there, the TWSN Patreon. That is where you get all of our live picks, not on just NFL, not on just UFC. We're talking NBA. We're talking about Shell. We're talking about MLB. We're talking about so much. So if you're looking to make yourself some serious money, subscribe to our Patreon today. The link is going to be down in the description. If you're trying to make some real money and you call yourselves a goat better, make sure you subscribe to our goats here. That is where you'll get the CEO of TWSN's plays, Malik, Wright, myself. You'll be getting my plays on a consistent basis. So without further ado, I've got 3 plays I want you guys to tell. We're going to take my guy, my brother. We're going to take Terrence McKinney. Okay. Terrence McKinney is a threat. Okay. He is an absolute threat. And he's alive in the first round as well. A lot of his fights, most of his fights have ended in the first round. This type of fighter he is. He goes, balls to the wall, so to speak. I think Terrence McKinney beats Ishmael Bonfim. I like Ihor Potierio against Mauricio Shogun Rua. Mauricio should have retired already. For some reason, he's still fighting in 2023 in the UFC. But I like Ihor in that fight. Terrence McKinney is a -125 betting favorite on the Betfred Sportsbook app. Ihor is a -215 favorite in the the Betfred Sportsbook app. And for the final play, I like Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez to beat Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira stepping in on late notice. Gregory Rodriguez, he starts off a little slow, picks it up in the second round. And typically when he picks it up, he finishes you. I like RoboCop in this fight. He's taking on a guy that's taking this fight on short notice. And Gregory Rodriguez is a -315 favorite. I do have some underdog picks on this card, but if you want those, you have to subscribe to the TWSN Patreon at the GOAT tier. Remember, all odds are brought to you by Betfred Sportsbook. But if you tail those 3 plays that I've laid out for you, the Terrence McKinney -125, Ihor Potierio play -215, Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez at -315 for UFC 283 in Brazil. If you tail those 3 plays and you parlay them together, that's +247 in the Betfred Sportsbook app. So yes, listen to me. Tail those plays, make yourself some money. And remember, there's only one way to bet, and that is the right way.
Yeah, Malik, I absolutely love it. When I'm looking at these odds right now, I absolutely love Terrence McKinney, -120. One of the most exciting fighters that we got out here. Also, one that I like personally. I'm a big Gilbert Burns fan. Him going up against Neil Magny. Obviously, the odds aren't great, -450 right now. Gilbert Burns has lost twice in the past. So often he's 7-2, I think, in his past 9. 2 losses. Khamzat Chimaev, future champion, and Kamaru Usman, former champion. So I like Gilbert Burns to win. But besides that, Malik, I love it. Now it's got to be time. Colton, it's time to do the shoey. Listen, I have to own up to my sins. I said Bucks money line on the show last week. I have to own up to it, right? And I said I would do a shoey. Bucks obviously didn't look great. Tom Brady looked washed, and that was a play that I regret taking. The Cowboys are the better team, and you know what? I'm a man of my word, so I have to do what I said, and I have to do a shoey live on the Wrightbet presented by First Star Logistics. So, oh man, here we go. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do this again, but I said that last time, right? All right, Malik. Cheers, everybody watching. Cheers.
And it was crazy. I would never drink
Also,
out of a shoe.
Colton put some nasty things in here. Put coffee, put tea, put some other nasty things in here. So
enjoy.
Cheers, everybody.
Disgusting.
That is just true.
Ew. Oh.
Man of my word. There it is. That was disgusting.
You're disgusting.
That was terrible. That was terrible. But
yeah, I don't. My stomach turned after that. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wrightbet presented by First Star Logistics, live from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and sponsored by the official sportsbook betting partner, the exclusive sportsbook betting partner, and only sports betting partner, book betting partner of the Wrightbet Betfred Sportsbook. Remember, all of our odds are presented to you via the Betfred Sportsbook app. Again, if you guys want to tail our live picks and get our live parlays that we're actually putting out, make sure you guys subscribe to the Patreon, right? We have a ridiculous amount of tiers you could choose from. If you want my personal plays are only available in the GOAT tier, which is $49.99, a
month.
a month. Then we have other tiers as well. Danny, what would you say is where people get the best value for, bang for their buck, so to speak, though?
Hands down, the best value is our veteran tier, right? You see all these other people, giving out picks and stuff, and they're selling theirs for $100, $200, $300 per week. We're giving ours out for $14.99 a month. You get entire NFL. And if you guys are watching this, NFL playoffs is where we make our most money. So we've got on the veteran tier, you get our complete NFL best bets, you got complete NBA best bets, you got complete UFC best bets, and then the GOAT tier is Malik's.
That's where you get
49. That's where you get the goods.
That's where you get the insider stuff and all that good stuff. But again, that's all stuff for another day, if you will. We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wrightbet presented by First Star Logistics, sponsored by the exclusive sportsbook betting partner, Betfred Sportsbook. Make sure you guys go download the most interactive sportsbook out there, the Betfred. It's truly a sportsbook meant for the bettors. I know that we're currently active in 8 states, if you will, Ohio being one of the newer ones. So again, make sure you go download the Betfred Sportsbook app, make yourself some money, tail our plays, and we'll see you at the cash counter, as Colton usually would say. But until then, we'll see you guys next week live on the Wrightbet. Have a damn weekend, everybody.